Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Unearth Horticulture. Today we are going to revisit a topic at your behest. If you have subscribed to my channel, you may notice that I posted a poll this last week on what topic you'd like me to cover next. And I'm going to try to do more of that here moving forward. I'm going to post 3 topics. I'm going to let you vote on which topic you'd like to hear from me on next. So if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you can take part in helping me make content for you. Enough of that. We're going to talk about what I'm on here to talk about, and that is propagation by cutting. And we are going to look at the difference between propagating in water versus propagating straight into potting mix, or the media that you're rooting into. So many of you have been propagating by water because that's just kind of what's been done, what's been recommended to you, or that you've seen your friends doing. And if you've watched my previous video on propagation by cutting, you will know that I strongly encourage you to actually propagate in soil. And we're going to take a look at why that is today, because I have the same example plants that I used in my past video 9 months ago. And I'm going to show you how they're doing currently today. So I'm going to grab this. All right. Here are our friends from 9 months ago when I first shot that video. I had started at that point, I had started these 4 months before that video. So these are about 13 months old, so just over a year in their propagation settings. All right, so let's talk about the water first. I'm going to set this aside. The water propagated snake plant, as you can see, does have a baby shoot coming here on the side, and it does have quite a nice wrap of roots that have been going in this vase here. It actually took another 2 to 3 months after I shot the last video. So this took about 6 months to form roots, and then another 2 months after that. So at 8 months, it started forming its shoot. So what I would say is that water propagation definitely is the longer method of propagating by cutting. So if you're impatient like me, propagating in potting mix is a lot more efficient. All right, so I'm going to set this down. Let's talk about this guy. All right. So as you can see, there are many shoots coming out of this pot that have pupped off of the original cutting bundle. And you may have seen, if you saw the last video, and I'm definitely going to put that link below, then you'll know that I took one leaf and I chopped it up into 5 pieces. I rubber banded it together, and that's what I stuck down into the potting mix. That is the same leaf surface area as what's in this vase. So it's the same amount of energy, light energy, that's being taken in by the same amount of leaf area as the water propagated cutting. So that's really important. But I think this bunching method definitely was the way to go, because there was more surface area that could form roots. And now the roots filled out this pot space a lot better, and it's using moisture more regularly, and it's creating those wet-dry cycles that are important in forming healthy roots in pots. So I was really impressed with that bunching method, and I strongly encourage you to do it if you're doing anything like snake plants, like propagating snake plants is a good way to do that. And if you are propagating like pothos or philodendron or anything else, the more cuttings you put per container, oftentimes the healthier and the faster it's going to fill out, the better it's going to look. So bunching cuttings, multiple cuttings into one pot, is the way to go. But as you can see, I've got plenty of shoots, and I wanted to pull this out really quick. One thing I was also going to show off is that there is moss growing in this pot, and I saw that happen pretty quickly because when you keep anything consistently moist, you're going to attract things like moss, fungus gnats, algae, which is the con of propagating into potting mix versus into water, but still really cool. All right. I'm going to pull this guy out so you can see roots. I haven't actually done this yet. See if I can keep this in camera view so you can see it. Oh, I just watered this today. Actually, I don't know why I did that before this video. Okay. Oh my word. That is so satisfying. That is so satisfying. Look at all those roots, and they're orange too. That is so cool. That is so cool. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is 13 months propagation into potting mix, directly into potting mix with a bunched bundle. This is propagating into water. I feel like I could just drop the mic here and not even say anything else. The difference is insane. I think I don't need to say anything else. This is so clearly the better propagation method, especially if we're considering snake plants. Like I said, differing plant species are going to differ in what propagation methods work better. And it's a great thing as a horticulturist to discover these for yourself, because this was just an experiment I did for you guys, but also for me because it's fun and I'm a nerd and I'm getting my pants all wet while I'm talking to you. I'm going to stick this guy back into its pot, but I am so happy with the results here. What's so interesting about propagating into potting mix is how much faster and how much better and more consistent it really is for your plants, for your cuttings. So there's your little update on how these guys are doing. I wanted to show you a couple of other propagations I've been working on and mistakes that I've made, so you can see that I truly don't know everything. But that's pretty obvious, I think. All right, so we've looked at some old friends here now, but I want to show you a couple of new propagations that I have been working on so that you might learn from my mistakes and my successes. So let's look at my mistake first, because I like to cover the tough stuff first. This is a Sun Queen pothos propagation attempt. And as you can see, it has not been successful. You see this brown rotting cutting end and dead upper growth. And I have more than one cutting that failed like that. And I have a couple of theories why this happened. If you watched my last video on cutting propagation, you know that I stress sanitization of tools and pots, because disease can really put a damper on your ability to propagate successfully. And I know for a fact when I took this cutting, I did not use proper tool either. I could not find my pruning shears, so I used scissors out of my kitchen utility drawer. Who knows where they'd been? I did not sanitize them. And so this very well could be a result of a pathogen disease issue that kept this plant from rooting. Another thing is that this potting mix that I used was actually old mix that I had pulled off of another pot of a plant that I had thrown out. So reusing potting mix always is not a great idea for propagation. So you want to start with fresh potting mix, clean pots, clean tools, healthy plants that you take your cutting off of, and those things are all going to guarantee, well, I can't say guarantee because nothing is ever 100%. They're going to help you on your way to successful propagations. So propagating in soil doesn't always end well. Let's look at a success. This is my philodendron Brazil. It is a type of heartleaf philodendron, a cultivar of that. And I was very excited to propagate this one because I've been collecting my heartleaf philodendron cultivars here in recent months. And what I did was I started with a long singular cutting that I rooted straight into this pot, and it did not look very full and nice and balanced in the pot. So then what I did was, after I rooted that and it got some new shoot growth coming on it, I snipped that in two, and I took that and rooted a cutting into the same pot. So then I had two cuttings rooted into the pot. And I just kept repeating the cycle until I had about 4 to 6 cuttings in this pot that are filling it out now. I've got lots of nice new orange growth coming, which is one of my favorite parts about philodendron Brazil. And I have a full plant. And ways that you can practically apply this ideology of propagation into your daily horticultural life is, whenever you have a hanging basket growing in your house, like of spiderwort or philodendrons or pothos, anything that's trailing, Typically, if we have them hanging high enough in our house, they don't get good lighting on the tops of the plant where it's going to stimulate root growth and shoot growth. So you can end up with really patchy growth or really bald areas. So if you ever end up with a container that has bald spots, you can always take cuttings and root directly back into the original container. That is a completely awesome way to apply this knowledge that we're learning in this video today. So, food for thought there, and I'm glad I can show you a successful cutting propagation of a trailing aroid, because these are oftentimes what people start by trying to propagate. But anyways, that's all I have for you today in this episode of Unearth Horticulture. I showed you a couple of examples. We revisited some topics, some old plant friends, and make sure that you like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, because it's going to make sure that you see when new content comes out on my channel. It's going to help me create more content for you. And make sure you check out those polls that I've been posting so that you can determine a little bit of what video comes next. So if you have any questions, as always, drop them in the comments below. And until next time, you've been watching Unearth Horticulture.